What's going on, everybody? It's FREEDO here for Your Overwatch, live on the PTR, the same time as the dev update, which we'll have a separate video about. Was a slew of buffs and nerfs and changes. Holy moly, is there a lot to break down. Let's get right into it. First, on the chopping block, D.Va's micro missiles damage is reduced from 6 to 4. Now, that's the individual explosions. Developer comment says D.Va's burst potential is a bit too high, and her micro missiles are a major part of that. Currently, each missile deals 3 damage and 6 explosive damage. We're reducing that from 6 to 4. The impact damage is the same, and they say the net result is a 22% damage reduction. All explosions in the game work this way. There's an impact damage and then an additional splash damage for explosion damage, if you will, that the projectile will do to the target and the targets surrounding them. So it's important to note that when you reduce splash damage, you're not only reducing the individual burst damage, but the splash to the other characters that's going to affect as well. So I'm a little confused as they got to the 22% number. I assume that means to an individual target, because if you imagine if everyone's clumped up in a graviton and that splash damage was going to be hitting all the targets inside, the reduced splash matters a lot more because your impact damage only hits that first target and then the splash hits everybody else. A lot of people were asking for a Diva Nerf. Alongside Tracer, she can be deemed the most powerful character in the game, and my estimation is that the bird of prey pickoffs that you can sort of vulture in and steal are still going to be available to you, but you might have to be a bit more accurate with your micro missiles in order to burst down those McCrees and soldiers. Because honestly, a lot of that micro missile damage was overkill. A big chunk of D.Va's damage comes from her main weapon and being able to shoot while flying. So I don't think this will change D.Va too much, but probably make her a bit more fair, especially when you start to think of her in multi-tank comps, where every bit of damage you reduce from those tanks is going to have a bigger effect in the team's overall damage. Moving on, the main change that I thought we might be a little bit afraid about is definitely coming to the PTR. Endothermic Blaster now pierces through enemies. The devs say this change helps Mei combat multiple targets that are clumped up and makes it easier to keep her freezing a specific target if another enemy gets in the way. In addition, this change helps her ultimate more consistently be able to freeze targets, especially if they are near each other. Note, while her shots now pierce enemies, they still do not pierce barriers such as Reinhardt's shield. The Ice Queen cometh. That's all I got to say. I've already done a video about what I think about this change. I'm excited to start testing it out. Mei could very quickly be a pillar of slow play in Overwatch, and that's not a bad ice wall pun. I just mean she could be a really stable DPS pick if she's much more reliable with some of these effects. Winter is coming, ladies and gentlemen, and I don't just mean the last season of Game of Thrones. Reaper, he got some changes too. Death Blossom now reloads his shotguns. That seems reasonable. It doesn't feel good to come out of Death Blossom with no ammo. This is a quality of life one that I really like, but the Wraith Form change has gone through as well, making Reaper a lot more scary. Oh my goodness, 50% movement increase now instead of 25, and you can cancel it at any point. I mean, this will really make Reaper feel like a Reaper, embody that terrifying Reaper aspect in a way that I don't know if we really want, guys. You're gonna have to get on the PTR and let me know. You can now play really obnoxiously with Reaper and make some serious impact frags on the front line or just popping out quickly, because there's a few things to do with this. Wraith Form closing the distance for you faster means that you can get in position to sort of like trap an enemy into a no-win situation. You go take a good spot, they can't get out. Well, welcome to Hellfire Shotgun Town. You're gonna be screwed. And if you get really good with this shift cancel, you're gonna be able to dodge all sorts of abilities, making Reaper for a very tough customer. Wraith Form already could see good value against something like a Dragon Blade, right? You think of something that has a prolonged effect that needs to go fight and get value now. You hit that Wraith Form button and you're dodging all the Genji swipes, which already was good, but now you have the window of opportunity to outlast the entire thing or pop out at a moment's notice with shotguns in hand, ready to blow a Zenyatta away. Look out, guys. Reaper is looking quite good. The devs say these changes help Reaper use Wraith Form more consistently as an escape, but they also open up new options, such as chasing down key targets. Yeah, no kidding. Moira got some changes too, however, all of these seem to be with her visual clutter. Biotic Grasp, Coalescence now become more transparent the closer its visual effects are to a player's camera. The sound will still be obnoxious, but the visuals will be toned down a little bit. But more importantly, transparency on her fade is increased the closer you are to a target. I think that means for your teammates, so it doesn't block their vision, but I suppose if the enemies don't see you fade as reliably, it's a small little buff for her fade. I thought they already dealt with the ability to track her as she fades. They already fixed that little animation issue, so I don't know if this is related to that. Either way, animations on the whole for Moira have been cleaned up. And the last character on the chopping block is Zenyatta. His secondary rate of fire has been reduced by 15%. The developers say Zenyatta is meant to be able to do a lot of damage, especially for a support, but his alternate burst fire damage was a bit too high. This change keeps the overall damage the same, but lowers the DPS slightly and makes it harder to hit multiple shots at very long ranges. They all come out in a really straight line like a machine gun, almost clumped together. Now with the rate of fire slightly lower, there'll be more space in between each ball in your right-click charge shot, meaning that targets really far away have a chance to only get chunked a little bit by it and get away like around a corner or what have you. The closer those are to hitting you in a single burst, the more that Zenyatta can simply pick off somebody from a long distance, which, let's face it, this is like the Jonak nerf. I really hope they don't go too far with this because Zenyatta is one of those characters that really only gets, quote, abused at the really high levels of play. I think most players in matchmaking aren't pulling off things that Jonak does, and let's face it, other pros don't pull off what Jonak does. So I don't think this is too important. However, of course, Zenyatta is one of the more powerful supports in general, especially at the pro level of play, so just slight little tweaks to tune him down can help incentivize other skillful supports like Ana, who are waiting in the wings a little bit. Well guys, that's everything for the PTR changes. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Are you happy to see all these characters get changed? Interesting to note that the PTR is going live now. That means there also might be a chance that we see these changes into the live competitive game before we see the new hero, Brigitte. Seems quite possible actually with the way the timescale is working out. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave it a like. It really does help us out and lets us know that you're enjoying the content. If you haven't already, please subscribe because we upload each and every day, so you're going to hit the bell icon so that you get notified when our videos go live. Link to the description is our Twitter, where we tweet out news, updates, and dank memes. That's been it for me. I've been FREEDO for your Overwatch. I'll see you guys next time.